everybody. It's another Conversations with, and I'm Dick Vaughn, and I'm delighted to tell you a story. My guest today is Richard Morchoe. Now, Richard and I have been doing this program for 3 or 4 years now.
At least.
And I met Richard at a Mexican restaurant opening in Sturbridge.
Yes.
Some years ago.
Yep.
Long gone. And we sat down together, and we were just chatting, and I mentioned that nobody has ever said a government knows how to run a government, let alone trying to run a business.
Right.
And they've all become businesses and they can't run them. And he thought that was incredible and wrote a story about it in the paper.
And what did I call it?
Vaughan's Law.
Vaughan's Law.
So I have become pals with this fellow because I respect him. He's a very, very intelligent guy, a historian. I mean, he knows Greek mythology. He knows about the rise and fall of the Roman Empire, and etc. Anyway, well learned. I found out, and he mentioned to me one day in passing. I never even thought anything about it, but Richard has a little thing that he does on the side or as a hobby. I don't know. You'll have to tell us. Richard's a beekeeper, and he has honey, and he goes to the different locations, the farmer's market, I believe in Amherst.
Amherst.
And he sells his honey. And he has about 25,000 bees that are friends of his, and he keeps them in the backyard. So Richard, I am impressed and I am intrigued about the bees. By the way, do you ever get stung?
Occasionally.
What do you do?
Okay. Let me tell you about the bee stings. Let's start off with that.
Oh, good.
You will if you are, first of all, towards the end of the summer, it's, in a hive, it can be a lot more than 25,000. But if you're stung, you feel pain. But it's once you get used to it, it's the fear of the pain that's the worst thing.
Yeah.
Once you get stung, that's actually a very healthy thing. There's something called hormesis. I don't know if you've ever heard the term hormesis. It's something that you don't expect is good that happens from something that dangerous or painful. And people get healthier when they get stung. And this is very interesting in that I have a neighbor that I used to give bees to, and several at a time. They would actually come and take them, the husband and wife. And he had very bad arthritis. I think it was arthritis.
Yeah.
And he would have a lot of bee stings because that was the only thing that soothed his arthritis or whatever it is.
Wow.
So, and I was at there's an old guy, George Gershman.
Yeah.
He actually was originally from Hungary. And he was a beekeeper.
He also wrote great music, George Gershman.
Gershman.
Oh, Gershman. Oh.
Yeah, I mean, in the words of Ira, it ain't necessarily so.
No.
Anyway, he told me that if you get stung a certain amount of time in the year, you'll never die. He went off at 100, which wasn't too bad.
No, he did well.
Did well, yeah. So occasionally you get stung, no big thing.
Wow.
And if I knew I wasn't going to get stung in my face, I might not even wear the equipment.
The head mask, yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know that. So that's one thing you don't want. It's scary. It's scary. It is scary.
Yeah.
Once you get overcome your fear, it's not that big.
Will they attack you?
Remember now, not everybody wants to be a kamikaze.
No.
A bee, it's the worker bees who you will meet.
Yeah.
And they're all female.
Yeah.
And they have the stinger. And if they sting you, it's over. They die. So they're not saying, gosh, I want to go out today and sting Dick
Yeah, but do they
Vaughn.
know that?
Do they know that?
Yeah.
What do they know? We all know some people who are smarter than other
Yeah.
people who are more aware about things.
Yeah.
So what do bees know? I don't know. I can't say. They probably don't have consciousness at all in the sense we do.
Well, about 4 or 5 years ago, as you know, I'm in the Mummers. I'm in the Joseph A. Furco String Band. And if this was 3 months from now, behind us or in front of us, I paraded, we paraded as bugs and bees. And I have a bee outfit. And I toyed with going down and putting it on and wearing it today. It's beautiful. It's got a big head with the sticky up things, and it's got a little mask, and it's yellow. And I even got little wings on the back that I wear. And it's unbelievable, black and yellow. But anyway, I didn't do it.
This is the first you've mentioned that. I am truly disappointed.
Well, I didn't wear it.
Well, you know what Shakespeare said?
What?
To be or not to be, that is the question.
That's right.
So
Well, the one I like that he really said, when all else fails, to thine own self be true. And that's the most difficult thing in the world
it is.
for people to do.
It is. Ego
When
gets in
all
the
else
way.
fails, to thine own self be true.
That's very true.
You got to see yourself as what you are. And I see myself as a damn fool that has fun.
You do.
Anyway,
You do. You do.
let's
have
get back to bees.
Okay. Next question.
Well, now, get this little bee, about that size, buzzing around your tulips or your whatever you got out there, which I've seen. They come all the time to my house, in the spring especially. I haven't seen any lately, but they come and one of my daisies come up. They love my daisies. They're all over those daisies. But anyway, I'm trying to imagine this little bee giving you enough honey to put in one of those jars so you can go sell it at the fair.
Well,
How do we get there?
this is a very thing, because this is almost even a philosophical question, because you use the term "this little bee." Remember, the hive is, as I said, 25, 35, sometimes 50, 60,000.
Who makes the original? Does one bee start the original hive?
Well,
And
this,
then they all
this
come?
is a chicken or egg question. You see, is the queen, in a state of nature, when humans
But
aren't,
somebody has to start that original comb.
yes.
It's one bee.
Well, there you go. It's not one bee. The queen will. This is hard to explain because we keep bees as people. We keep colonies of
Yeah.
bees, and it's an organized thing. Now, if you want to start a new hive as a beekeeper, what you will do is you will buy a queen, and you will actually buy a package of bees, or what they might call a nuke, N-U-C, which is a nucleus hive. So, but in a state of nature with bees on their own, a queen will go off by herself, find a place, usually maybe a hollow in
Yeah.
a tree, and start her hive, and over a period of time, build up a hive.
Yeah.
In Massachusetts, we have very few wild feral colonies of bees because of the diseases that have come. But if Dick Vaughn said tomorrow, I got to keep bees, you would contact somebody who actually deals in them, and go down, and they usually come up from the south. The colonies, the nukes, the 2 pounds or 3 pounds of bees will be raised down south, and they'll come up.
Really?
Yeah. So then,
So they're Southerners.
they're Southerners. They're rebels.
Rebels. Oh,
yeah.
good.
They're
That's good to know.
so they're coming up to try to take
That
over.
somebody from Dixie actually is making a contribution to the Yankees.
They're charging for it. Let me tell you.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, So you will then put them in, you will get framed, you'll get a box, say, it's about that by that,
Yeah.
and there'll be frames, and they have a little bit of wax in them to start. They're sort of set up so that the bees will draw it out of the six-sided,
Yeah.
the bees deal in six-sided cells.
Yeah.
And they'll draw that out, they'll draw out but you gotta, a new hive you would also have to feed.
No, that little cell that you talk about, that little, and we've seen them.
Yeah,
If you got a beehive, you can see them.
yeah.
One bee goes in there, each hive.
No, they don't live in the cells. They don't live in the cells at all.
Oh,
They live in between the cells, sort of.
oh. What do they use the cell for?
That's where they store the honey, or they
Oh.
will store nectar, or they will actually raise the bees in. The newbie. Newbie, you've heard the term.
Newbie, yeah.
He's a newbie, she's a newbie. The queen will lay the egg in the cell. And the workers will all tend to that. Now, the newbies, I mean, when you buy the bees, you will have to feed them. In the spring, the early spring, you have to feed them.
What do you feed them?
Sugar water. You can feed them other things. There's pollen substitutes. You can feed them pollen that you might have saved from another hive, because the bees eat the pollen as well as the honey.
Oh. Well, they like the honey themselves.
Yep.
Oh.
That's part of this story.
So there's a loss.
We're stealing it from them, essentially. But we give them a nice, give them a nice box.
Yeah,
with a
but you
nice
don't get
cell.
100% of their honey.
If you want the bees to survive over the winter, no. You have to make sure they have enough stored to get through the winter. And because the winter's cold, they all stay in a ball in the hive.
Oh, really? They don't come out?
Not in the winter.
No?
What are they going to do?
They can stand, well, they'll freeze to death.
You have to get them cable. You have to, make sure they get some. No, that's a lie. They don't.
So they have to. So they're self-sufficient if they stay in that little hive.
Well, it's a symbiotic relationship. You will have to then feed them in the spring, but the wild or feral bee colonies, if they exist where they exist, they are self-sufficient.
Wow. Now, how long have you done this?
Probably since around 1990, 1991.
Oh, so 30 years anyway.
Yeah. I'm not a really great beekeeper.
But you're enjoying it.
I don't stop. Keep it up.
Yeah.
You wonder, because there are a lot of problems to beekeeping.
I'm sure.
So,
Especially up here.
well, everywhere. I mean, there's migratory beekeepers, and what they do is they'll start. I don't know if they either in Florida or up in Maine, but when they start up in Maine, say,
Mm-hmm.
because they're pollinating blueberry crops. So they will start up in Maine. They will go through all the states on the East Coast and pollinate apples, pollinate whatever crops that they have. So if disease starts in one
When you say pollinate, what do they actually do? Like, for instance, for an apple.
well, they take the pollen from the apple, and that's how the apple starts, because
Oh.
they're fertilizing the apple.
Okay.
The apple blossom.
Okay.
Did you see the apple blossom?
Yeah.
Well, then the apple grows.
So they like those.
They like that, and that's symbiotic as well. They'll get pollen, they'll get nectar.
Oh, wow.
But they go all the East Coast, so if there's disease in the north or there's disease in the south, it will go all along the coast.
Oh, wow.
And
And
it does.
you all tell each other.
Well, I'm not a migratory beekeeper. I'm in good old Worcester County.
Oh. But aren't they all, you must know each other. Don't they meet once in a while?
Well, the beekeepers in Worcester County, I'm a member of the Worcester
Yeah.
County Beekeepers Association,
Yeah.
and we did a show by Long Hill Report with Mary Duane, who was president of the Worcester
Oh,
County
wow.
Beekeepers Association, And we meet as beekeepers whenever we can. Like, I'll go to a meeting.
Yeah.
Probably, I think it's in later July. We'll have the
Yeah.
cookout, and we'll all get together.
And you just chat and talk about different issues.
Yeah.
Wow. So now we got to get that. We got to get that nectar or whatever it is into that jar. And it can't be just one little bee.
It's not one little bee. Like I said, 25,000, 35, 40, 50, 60, depending on the health of the hive, how it's built up, how the weather's been, how everything works. They go out there, they get all the nectar, and they bring it back, and they get pollen as well, and they put it into the cells. And they have to fan it down with their wings to get the liquid out of the water out of it, so that it's concentrated as honey. And when they've done that, we take it from them. We take the cell, the frame that the cells are in. We put it in what's called an extractor. We scratch open, or we use a knife to open up the cap. The honey has been capped by the bees. That's why we know it's ready to go.
Oh, they protect it.
Yeah, and then we take it in, uncap it, put it into the extractor, and spin it out. And with centripetal force, the honey goes out to the side of the extractor, which is kind of a big drum.
Yeah.
It goes down to the bottom, and after a while, you get a lot of honey at the bottom of the extractor, and you open a spigot, sort of a spigot, and it comes out, and you put it into I use a bucket. The bucket, and with strain through, we have strainers, and it goes into the bucket, and you take it up, put it on a table, and there's a spigot at the end. If you at the bucket, you open that, and you have a bottle below, and you keep putting until all the honey has come out into all the bottles you have.
Wow. So that begs the question, how many bottles of honey can you get out of a hive that's got 25,000 bees?
Okay, I'd say each frame, you have to say like the frames for the honey, depending on the size. You probably get a couple pounds out of a frame, depending on how much. Say 9 frames to the box, what's called a super, honey super. 20 pounds, 18, 20, really good.
And that 20 pounds gets you how many bottles?
A pound is a bottle.
Okay.
It's a pound in a bottle.
A pound. Wow.
And so
Now you're up on Long Hill. Do you do any additives or anything into your honey to give it a little something?
I put cocaine and heroin. No,
Oh,
nothing's
no.
added. Nothing's added.
Nothing's added. It's real straws, straight honey.
It's straight raw honey
Yeah. From Long Hill bees.
from Long Hill. From Worcester County Worcester County's Beekeepers Association is the oldest beekeepers association, county beekeepers association in the country.
Wow.
And there's a lot of beekeepers. I think the Spencer Fair is coming back this year.
Yeah, it is.
We usually have an area there where we talk to the public, sell them honey if they want it.
Wow. Now, a lot of people use honey for what?
Anything you get. Well, for obviously you can have it straight if you want. People put it in their tea. At the Spencer Fair, they will judge honey, and people will be awarded who has the best honey in Worcester County. But they'll also have people who will make things, different recipes, and they'll judge them too, and give out ribbons
Wow.
for that. So there's like baked goods. You get all kinds of. It really goes good well in baked goods.
Now, I would tell you a story. You mentioned that, and it hit me. My Nana McGee, my mother's mother, Nana McGee, was from Ireland.
Where?
From Ireland.
I've heard of it.
Yeah, a little town, a little place outside of Great Britain.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Or as some of us say, not so Great Britain.
Anyway, Nana, now that you mentioned it to me, if you were sick, you went to Nana's house. And Nana would take you and put you in bed. I'm a little guy now, 5 or 6, 7. And she would rub you with Vicks Vapor Rub.
I remember it.
And put a big piece of flannel on you. But then you got the treat. She'd get the Jamesons out. And she'd pour a little Jamesons in a little cup. And she'd put a little honey in it. Because that used to kill the taste of the booze. Okay? And she put a little honey in it. She always had honey in the house. And she'd heat it up. And you'd sip that. And you would go out like a light. You would sleep at night, wake up in the morning, cold gone. That was the remedy. The remedy. And then if not, we always had Father John's medicine. You know. But anyway, no, she did. She would use honey.
Now, which agent was more the curative, the honey or the Jamesons?
Oh, well, from a cure standpoint, I thought the vapor rub and the flannel was probably what really did it. You only got the Jamesons so you'd sleep.
Okay.
That would knock you out. A little kid drinking a shot of Jamesons.
Yeah.
You know, but you couldn't drink it because you couldn't, for a little kid, the taste is awful. So when she put the honey in it and mix it, it would take away the bad taste. You know?
So.
And if she didn't have honey, she'd use molasses.
Which do you like better, the honey or the molasses?
Oh, the honey was always better.
Right answer.
Always better. No, but it's intriguing, and you really enjoy it.
Enjoyment, that's a funny thing. I'm fascinated by it, and that's why people take it up.
Yeah.
It's work, and it's a lot of thinking, and it's especially with what's going on with the mites and the diseases now, it's very difficult. So what is the level of enjoyment? I'm not sure. I just don't stop. I'm not going to stop.
No.
But I have to. That's a question, a philosophical question. It's above my pay grade, I think.
Yeah. Well, no, because I only do. Well, that's not true. I do things that I really enjoy doing, and I do them because I enjoy them. However, there are also things I don't enjoy that I have to do for whatever reason. But I found out this, that you always do better at something you enjoy doing than you do at something you don't enjoy. You'll put your heart and soul into it as you have, and you'll really work it as you have. It's very important to you.
It is.
And so as a consequence, you will always do better at something you enjoy. That's why I use the word enjoyment. Because you have to enjoy it, or you would never do it as well as you do. You'd say, I'm not going to do it this year.
So fascination might be an index of enjoyment then.
Well, fascination's a great word. Things fascinate me,
As we discuss in our regular show,
that's for sure. I mean, I'm amazed at some of the things that they get away with, and that goes on. I mean, someone asked me when I was in the hospital at Mass General, and boy was I in the ICU for 7 days, upstairs for 8 more. Anyway, someone asked me, where's Charlton? And I try to explain it to them. Said, next town to Sturbridge. Oh, I know Sturbridge. I used to go to Old Sturbridge Village when I was a little kid. Okay. Well, Charlton's the next town north of Sturbridge. Then we have Oxford, then we have Spencer and other communities. I said, but you know what I love most about Charlton? Oh, no, well, why do you live in Charlton? Well, I'll tell you. What I love most about Charlton is last night, nobody got shot. No woman got sexually assaulted. There was no domestic violence. It was a great night. And I said, it's just wonderful. I said, can you imagine living in Boston, walking down the street and you get shot? You know, now it's just not Boston. It's Chelsea and Lynn and Revere.
Yeah.
You know, Randolph. It spreads. It's a greater Boston problem. And, you know, there's free reign on shooting people and running them over with cars.
I've never been shot by a bee. That's why I like beekeeping.
Yeah, that's the answer. Yeah, a bee won't shoot at you.
That's
The
true.
worst they'll do is give you a sting, and then that makes you feel good.
And yep, it'll cure what ails you.
Yeah. Well, Richard, it was wonderful. I'm so glad we had a chance to chat about beekeeping because I just kept thinking about it when I was home for umpteen days, and I said, boy, I got to talk to Richard about doing a program on beekeeping. That would be a great program. And so we did, and I'm thrilled that I had the chance to do that. You're quite a guy.
Thank you, Dick.
And
It's a
I
pleasure
just-
to discuss anything with you.
Oh, I know, but I just am intrigued by that, and fascinated. That's a good word.
Yeah,
you know?
fascination.
Yeah, and I said, oh, I've got to talk to him about beekeeping because I really don't know, and I didn't. As I sat home and I'm saying, how many, you know, my simple Dickie, how many bees does it take to make a jar of honey? You know, well, that's not the way you do it.
No, well, no.
But it's a logical question.
Yeah, it's
And I'm trying to think, a little tiny guy gives him a big jar of honey, you know. I mean, because I know, because I had radio stations up in Vermont and New Hampshire, and so I know that maple sugaring is not a simple little
No.
put a tap on the side of a maple tree
No.
and go downstairs, put it in a bottle and drink it, or put it on your pancakes. That's a process. They have to steam it and boil it and heat it in these big tanks.
And there's something you don't know, because you referenced Vermont. In the Worcester County area, western, southwestern, central western, we have a lot of maple syrup producers, and the stuff they produce is great.
Really?
Yeah, I did. Drew can tell you, I did a show of Long Hill Reports with my neighbor.
Yeah.
He has bucket list maple syrup. And,
Does he wholesale it?
What? He doesn't wholesale it. He more or less retails it. I don't think he wholesales it. He's not that big an operator.
Well, 'cause you know, you go to the stores, and most of them, other than Aunt Jemima, most of them are Vermont, New Hampshire, and then a lot of them are New Jersey, which I won't buy.
No,
You know,
who
New
would
Jersey came out of the Newark River, you know.
buy?
So I said, no, I'll stick with Vermont and New Hampshire farms. And if it's got a little, I tell Jen when we shop, it's got to say on the back, Vermont Farm, Vermont Burlington, Vermont Bennington, Vermont Brattleboro, Rutland, someplace. Same in New Hampshire.
We
So
have,
she's tuned in now, so.
really, we've got it here.
Yeah.
We do really good maple syrup.
Good.
I shouldn't say we, but the producers here do a wonderful job.
Well, if you ever done a show with one of them?
I did.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
I'll send you the link to it.
Okay, great. Well, there you have it, folks. That's another Conversations with, and I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did.